What if I told you that decluttering could be the secret to living a longer, happier life? Could clearing out the past be the key to a brighter future in your golden years? Let's find out. We often think of decluttering as simply tidying up our space, but it's so much more than that. It's about creating a clean, calm environment that can have a profound impact on both our mental and physical well-being. In fact, studies show that decluttering can reduce stress, improve focus, and even contribute to a longer life. So why not make it a priority in your golden years? I know a few remarkable seniors who have shown us the way. They found that by letting go of things, both physical and emotional, they've been able to live with more peace, joy, and vitality. Today, I'm going to share the top 8 things seniors should declutter right now to live to 100 and beyond. Let's dive in. 1. Old clothes you never wear. Let's start with something that we all have tucked away in our closets: old clothes we never wear. It's easy to hang on to those dresses, suits, or shirts from decades ago, thinking, maybe one day I'll fit into this again, or this reminds me of a special time. But holding on to those clothes might be doing more than just taking up space. It might actually be holding you back. Meet Mrs. Dorothy, 78 years young, who spent years clinging to dresses from her youth. Every time she opened her closet, she'd be reminded of the person she once was, the time when those clothes symbolized her style and energy. But as the years passed, those clothes no longer fit, and frankly, she didn't even like wearing them anymore. It wasn't just the dresses that were weighing her down, it was the memories attached to them. When Dorothy finally decided to let go of her old wardrobe, something amazing happened. It wasn't just about clearing out space, it was about clearing out mental and emotional baggage. By donating those clothes, she made room for new experiences, and suddenly her closet was filled with items that reflected who she was today, not who she was decades ago. It was like she had let go of the past and opened herself up to the present, with all of its new possibilities. The lesson here is powerful. Holding on to outdated or unused clothes can keep us tethered to a past that no longer serves us, preventing us from fully embracing who we are today. When you let go of those old clothes, you free yourself to move forward and enjoy the present moment. It's not just about tidying up, it's about embracing the person you've become and the life that lies ahead. Just like Dorothy, you too can find freedom and joy in clearing out the clutter and stepping into a lighter, more fulfilling chapter of life. 2. Expired medications. Next on the list of things seniors should declutter: expired medications. It's something we don't always think about, but keeping old prescriptions around can actually do more harm than good. Not only are they taking up valuable space, but they can also pose serious health risks and cause unnecessary confusion. Take Mr. Frank, for example. At 85 years old, he had a drawer full of old medications. Some he hadn't touched in years. He never thought much of it, but after a minor health scare, he realized that keeping all those old prescriptions wasn't just unnecessary, it was downright dangerous. Some of the medications had expired, and others had been replaced with new ones, yet they all sat there in his drawer, waiting to be used. After speaking with his doctor, Mr. Frank made the decision to clear out the drawer once and for all, and the change was remarkable. Not only did he free up space, but he also gained peace of mind knowing that his medication list was up to date. The lesson here is simple but crucial. Expired medications can pose serious health risks, especially if they are accidentally taken, mixed with newer prescriptions, or simply forgotten. Additionally, having outdated medications lying around can contribute to confusion, making it harder to keep track of what's really necessary for your health. By decluttering your medication list and keeping only what you need, you'll have a clearer picture of your health and feel more confident in managing it. Mr. Frank now makes it a point to keep his medications organized and up to date, knowing that a little effort can go a long way in improving his well-being and overall peace of mind. 3. Old papers and documents. Now, let's talk about another form of clutter that can easily build up over time: old papers and documents. We all have them: piles of bills, receipts, tax documents, and a stack of papers we've just never gotten around to dealing with. But what many don't realize is that cluttered paperwork can cause stress, anxiety, and mental overload, which only increases as we age. It's time to clear that clutter and take control of our space and peace of mind. Take Miss Evelyn, 92, for example. She spent years buried under mountains of old bills, insurance papers, and forgotten documents from decades ago. Every time she opened a drawer or tried to find something, she'd become overwhelmed by the piles. Eventually, she realized that all of this clutter wasn't just taking up space, it was weighing on her mentally. So she decided it was time to tackle the mess. With the help of her family, Miss Evelyn began sorting through the clutter, discarding what was no longer needed and organizing what was important. What she found was incredible. Along with the usual documents, she uncovered old letters from loved ones, mementos from special occasions, and memories that had been long forgotten. But just as importantly, she felt a huge sense of relief as she let go of papers that no longer served a purpose. By clearing out the clutter, Miss Evelyn not only created a more organized living space but also a clearer mind. She was able to let go of things that had been adding stress and anxiety to her life, making room for peace and positivity. The lesson here is clear. Cluttered paperwork can cause unnecessary stress and mental fatigue, especially when it piles up over the years. Simplifying your space by decluttering old documents can help clear your mind, reduce anxiety, and make it easier to stay organized. Miss Evelyn's story is a perfect reminder that sometimes letting go of the past, whether it's old papers or memories, can be one of the most freeing things you can do for your well-being. 4. Sentimental items from the past. Now, let's talk about sentimental items, things we hold on to because they carry memories of significant moments in our lives. Whether it's old photographs, war medals, or childhood keepsakes, these items can stir up feelings of nostalgia. But if we hold on to too many of them, they can become clutter that prevents us from fully appreciating the present. Take Tom, for example. Tom is a 79-year-old war veteran who had boxes full of mementos from his time in the service. Every item told a story. His medals, letters from comrades, and old uniforms, all cherished memories from a time in his life that shaped who he was. However, as Tom grew older, he realized that some of these items were keeping him stuck in the past. Every time he opened a box, he was reminded of a time that was no longer a part of his everyday life. It wasn't just the memories, it was the weight of carrying all those items that was holding him back. After much reflection, Tom decided to go through the boxes and keep only the most meaningful pieces, the ones that truly represented his service and the experiences that mattered most. By doing so, he made room for new memories with his grandchildren. Instead of being surrounded by items that reminded him of the past, he created a space that allowed him to focus on the present and future. The family photos and memorabilia he kept served as beautiful reminders of his past, but they no longer overwhelmed him. The lesson here is profound. Sentimental clutter can sometimes prevent us from living fully in the present. While it's important to cherish memories, holding on to too many items can keep us tied to the past and prevent us from embracing new experiences. By choosing to keep only the most meaningful items, we can honor our history without being weighed down by it. Just like Tom, we can find balance, connecting with our past while making room for the future and the memories yet to be made. 5. Unused appliances and gadgets. Next up on our decluttering list, unused appliances and gadgets. How many of us have a kitchen drawer or cabinet full of gadgets we bought on a whim, only to have them gather dust over the years? We might think, one day I'll use that smoothie maker, or maybe I'll try that new kitchen tool. But the reality is, many of these items just sit there, taking up valuable space. Take Mrs. Jean, for instance. At 82 years old, her kitchen was packed with gadgets she rarely used. There were bread makers, juicers, and even a set of fondue forks, all hidden away in drawers, unused for years. But after deciding to downsize, Mrs. Jean made a huge realization. The space she reclaimed after getting rid of those unused items didn't just make her kitchen look better. It made her cooking experience more enjoyable. She found that without the clutter of appliances she never used, she could actually focus on the tools that truly enhanced her cooking. Now her kitchen is much simpler, with only the gadgets that make her life easier, like a trusty blender and a few essential cooking utensils. It's not about getting rid of everything, it's about keeping what adds value. The lesson here is simple yet impactful. Clinging to unused or broken items takes up not just space, but energy. Every time we open a drawer or cabinet and see those gadgets we never use, it's a small reminder that we're holding on to things that no longer serve us. By letting go of items that have no purpose, you free up your space, your time, and your mental energy for the things that truly matter. Just like Mrs. Jean, you can create a more peaceful, functional space that supports the life you want to live. One that's clear of unnecessary clutter and full of tools that bring joy and ease to your daily routine. 6. Outdated technology. Let's move on to a common form of clutter that many of us overlook. Outdated technology. We've all been there, the old phones, clunky computers, and piles of VHS tapes that no longer serve any purpose. While these items might have held value once, over time they become a physical and mental burden, taking up space and keeping us tied to a time that's long gone. Take Mr. Harold, 88, for example. He had a collection of old phones, outdated computers, and stacks of VHS tapes that he hadn't touched in years. While he had the best intentions of holding on to them for nostalgia's sake, they were just collecting dust. It wasn't until he decided to declutter that he realized how much these old items were weighing him down, both physically and mentally. Once he cleared his space of these relics, something shifted. Mr. Harold found that by updating his devices to more modern, user-friendly technology, he felt more connected to the present. He was able to embrace smartphones, streaming services, and even video calls with his family, which brought him closer to loved ones in ways his old technology couldn't. Technology, instead of being something he avoided, became a tool to enhance his life. The lesson here is clear. Outdated technology can hold us back in ways we don't even realize. Whether it's struggling with old gadgets that are slow and frustrating, or simply feeling disconnected from the world around us, these items can prevent us from staying active and engaged in today's digital world. By updating to more modern, user-friendly devices, seniors can not only simplify their lives, but also stay connected to their families, access information, and enhance their daily routines. Just like Mr. Harold, embracing new technology can help you feel more in tune with the present and give you the freedom to enjoy the benefits of today's world. 7. Excess furniture. Now, let's talk about something many of us might not immediately think of when decluttering: furniture. Over the years, it's easy to accumulate too many pieces of furniture, whether from family hand-me-downs, old purchases, or just because we think we might need extra seating or storage. But when furniture piles up, it can make a home feel cramped, cluttered, and harder to navigate, especially as we age. Take Mrs. Clara, 85, for example. Her home was filled with bulky furniture she no longer needed. Chairs, tables, and cabinets filled every corner, making her space feel crowded and difficult to move through. As she spent more time in her home, she began to feel that the excess furniture wasn't just taking up space, it was taking up her freedom. She had trouble moving around comfortably, and even the simplest tasks felt more difficult. Finally, Mrs. Clara decided it was time for a change. She rearranged her living space, getting rid of the pieces that were no longer functional and simplifying her environment. What followed was nothing short of transformative. Her home felt open, airy, and more inviting. She had more room to move around safely, and the cluttered corners were replaced with spaces that encouraged relaxation. Mrs. Clara found that with fewer pieces of furniture, she had more room for freedom, both physically and mentally. The lesson here is simple. Too much furniture can make it hard to enjoy your space, especially as we get older. It can block pathways, create tripping hazards, and make even the most familiar spaces feel overwhelming. By decluttering and simplifying your home, you can create a more comfortable and safer environment that allows you to move freely, relax, and fully enjoy your living space. Just like Mrs. Clara, you'll find that less is often more when it comes to creating a home that works for you and enhances your quality of life. 8. Negative thoughts and unresolved emotional baggage. Finally, let's talk about something that often gets overlooked when we think about decluttering our emotional baggage. Just as physical clutter can weigh us down, so can negative thoughts, grudges, and unresolved emotions. These internal burdens can hold us back from fully embracing the present and finding peace within ourselves. Mr. Jack, 90, is a perfect example. For years he carried around grudges from his past, disappointments, misunderstandings, and old wounds that he never quite let go of. These emotional burdens, while invisible, were just as heavy as any pile of old items. His relationships with his family were affected, and he found it difficult to experience true joy, even when surrounded by loved ones. But everything changed after a deep conversation with his daughter. She encouraged him to finally confront those old wounds, forgive those who had wronged him, and let go of the negativity that had been holding him back for so long. As he worked through the pain and chose to release the grudges, something incredible happened. Mr. Jack found a new sense of peace in his heart. He felt lighter, freer, and more connected to the people around him. That emotional clutter was gone, and in its place was space for love, understanding, and joy. The lesson here is powerful. Just like physical clutter, emotional clutter can weigh us down and affect our overall well-being. Holding on to negative thoughts and unresolved issues can not only damage our relationships, but also take a toll on our mental and physical health. By letting go of past grudges, embracing forgiveness, and freeing ourselves from emotional baggage, we make room for peace and happiness. This emotional decluttering can be just as crucial to living a long, fulfilling life as keeping our physical spaces clear. Just like Mr. Jack, you can discover a renewed sense of freedom and connection when you let go of the past and open yourself up to a brighter future. Conclusion. And there you have it. 8 powerful ways to declutter not just your home, but your life. By clearing out physical and emotional baggage, you can make space for new experiences, better health, and a brighter future. Just like the inspiring seniors we've heard about today, you too can create a more peaceful, fulfilling environment, setting yourself up for a longer, happier life. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to comment below with a 9 or a 0. I'd love to hear what resonates with you. Take care, and remember, decluttering is a journey, not a destination. Until next time.